Hey everybody, Tanner Gers here. Wanted to shoot you this quick introductory exercise video so that I can show you how anybody, no matter your fitness, no matter your strength level, can be using absolutely lean system fitness to be stimulating your natural hormone production and burn the most body fat possible in a single 5-minute workout. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter how strong you are or how weak you are. What matters is that you're giving 100% and going through high intensity interval trainings like you will see in this workout fitness series. So, with that being said, I'm going to address the exercises like push-ups, sit-ups, and those full body weight squats so that you can develop those weaknesses, build your strength, and be burning your hormones even better with those traditional exercises. So let's address that first weak point that everybody seems to have a problem with, push-ups. Let's get to it. So here we are, we're going to be doing the first variation with a chest exercise or the push-up. So you just need a wall. That's all you need, a wall, a chair, a bed. Anytime that we're reducing the angle that our body is at, meaning that the closer we are to parallel to the ground when we're doing a push-up, the more difficult it is. Likewise, if we continue to invert that, like if we're doing a handstand push-up, it's even going to provide greater resistance. So the more weight that we can take off of our hands and put to our feet, the easier a push-up's going to be. The easiest push-up will be right here close against the wall. Right here, I'm just going and using my chest muscles, keeping my core tight, my hips are tight, my quads are tight, and I'm using the wall to push up. Now, to progress this, we can just scoot the feet back a little bit, get a little bit more of an angle, and then there's going to be more resistance. Now, how you progress from this point to actually where you're doing a push-up is when you're going to make the progression from using the couch, like the armrest of a couch, going a little bit further, or a bed. Then what you can start to do is develop the single unilateral work so that you can develop the strengths further in these variations to get to that traditional push-up. So how I'm going to do that, one-handed, just like this. I'm going to put my other hand on my hip here. I'm really locking my hips, keeping my core tight, and then right here, I'm doing single one-arm push-ups. So those are the variations. That's how we do push-ups, and that's how you can be stimulating your fat-burning hormones while doing a push-up variation. The important thing to remember, give 100% effort. The faster that you're moving, the faster you're going to burn the fat. So let's get to the next exercise. Okay, so here we are going to address some leg variations. I'm going to progress you how to develop your glute, hip, thigh, all the muscles in your legs so that you can be doing those high-intensity traditional lower body exercises. The first one we're going to be getting into is donkey kicks. So we're going to get into the quadruped position, which is just hands on, on your hands and knees. What I'm going to do, what you're going to notice through all these videos is how I really emphasize tight core, really pulling in the belly button and tucking the hips, stabilizing the spine. Then I'm going to bring my head back and keeping my knee bent at a 90-degree angle with my hips tucked, I'm just going to extend my hip. Just like this. I'm going to hold this in the isometric position here, and you're really going to feel this in the hamstrings as well as the glutes. That's going to be the first variation, which will lead into the glute bridge. So we're going to come around in the supinated position here, and I'm going to scoot back so I get a little bit of traction. And then the glute bridge, I've got my knees bent in at a 90 degree. I'm going to keep my hips tucked, bring the belly button in. All right, you can use your hands against the ground for support to begin with, but eventually, so that'll look like this, and then thrusting the hips up, keeping the glutes tucked, the hips tucked, and then coming up on your shoulders. Use your hands for balance and support at the beginning, but eventually you'll want to come right here, planking through the glute bridge. So that's that variation. The next exercise we're going to be getting into is actually going to be bodyweight squats. Now, some people say that they have knee pain or some discomfort from doing bodyweight squats, and that may be true if you have a genetic or a birth defect, but the human body is meant to do bodyweight squats. So that just means if you have these knee pains and you don't have a knee replacement or something like that, then you're just not doing it correctly. And how I want everybody to be doing bodyweight squats, there is some variation, but generally we're going to take about shoulder width stance apart, so feet under shoulders, toes slightly pointed out. Then before we drop down, we're going to use our hands for balance. Bring the hips back. Don't bend at the knee, just bring the hips back and then bend at the knee, dropping down. That's how you correctly do a bodyweight squat. But for the first variation leading up to that is we're going to hands for balance, all right, tucking the pelvis, keeping tight in the core. We're going to swing the hips back and then just slightly drop down into this isometric position here. What I want you to think about is focusing on pushing through the ground, down and out through the heels, tucking the hips and staying tall and tight through the core, using hands for balance. Then as you progress your strength, you'll be able to drop in lower and lower, and before you know it, you'll be down here doing high intensity bodyweight squats. The next progression is going to be unilateral work into the lunge. So putting that in, I've got my left foot back. I'm going to use that for stabilization, keeping most of my weight though on the front foot, pushing through the heel. So really tighten those hips, tuck those hips. You'll feel that back glute lock up, pushing through the heels, and then just holding this position here. As you get better and stronger, you'll be able to bring that rear foot back further and drop deeper in. And of course, eventually you'll get to here where you're doing high intensity lunges. So those are the variations that I want you to progress on how you can develop the strength in your legs to be doing high intensity traditional lower body exercises. Until then, use these variations and give 100% effort. Again, it's not about what exercises you're doing, it's about how you do those exercises. Let's get into the next group of muscles. All right, everybody, let's address that core musculature. I'm also going to show you a little variation on the push-ups because it falls perfectly in line with a core progression variation. So the first one we're going to do is the plank. Everybody should know the plank, and if you don't, I'm going to demonstrate it for you right quick. Generally what happens is we come from the elbows right here, from the toes. I'm locked through the quads. I'm really pushing, locking my thighs as well as my hips, tucking them, keeping my head back and pulling that belly button up. This is the plank position. Many people can't do this though. They just don't have the leg strength and the core strength combined to hold it. So the variation here is we're going to start from the knees. All right? You're still going to tuck the pelvis. You're still going to flex those quads by driving the toes into the ground and stabilizing. That's what I'm doing right here. And then I'm tucking the pelvis, bringing that belly button up and holding the plank right here from the elbows. The push-up variation like this is from the knees, still keeping the hips tucked and pushing my toes to the ground. I come up right here. This will be the variation once you're ready to start getting on the ground and doing the push-ups, moving forward from the wall. So that's the plank. The next core exercise variation, what we're going to do is going into the supinated position and showing you some crunch variations. So I do put some high intensity crunches into my routines, and if you can't do one, that's okay. These variations will teach you how to do a crunch appropriately and help you develop that core musculature. So what I'm going to do when I'm starting out, I want you to push through the ground through your heels, really locking through the hips and starting to activate that lower core musculature. Then you're just going to bring your shoulders up with your hands behind your head and hold this position right here. You'll do this for the entire work interval. Throw in some leg coordination. Here's the next variation. Now watch me throw in the arm component too. So here I go. I'm coordinating my arms and my legs at the same time. I can also bring my arms out here and doing crunches out here. So those are the variations. That's how you're going to develop the core musculature. That's also a little variation on how you can start to progress through the push-ups. And that's going to wrap it up for the introductory exercise video. If you have any questions or you're struggling with any variations, don't hesitate to email me and ask me. Tanner@absolutelylean.com. I'll get back to you. I'm here to support you, and we are here together to burn our fat-burning hormones. Get those fat-burning hormones burning the most body fat possible in a 5-minute workout. This is the Absolutely Lean System Fitness. I'm Tanner Gers from absolutelylean.com. I'll see you in the